Hello friends, hello family, Coach John here, just reaching out to my group, just making relationships, just working on relationships. That's what I do all day long, is work on my relationships, on my relationship with myself and my relationship with others. Because this is what I say is what it's all about. It's about healing ourselves and healing the others. And that's what love is all about. And that's how love works. It's the law of love. That love is within us and love is around us in every single moment. I'm looking to have a love chat, a relationship chat, a natural health chat today. This is what I like to do with people. People that I meet along the way is share loving information, share loving details about nature, details about health. I like to talk about love. I like to talk about health. I tell people that these are the same things. I tell people they're parallels. Like, loving yourself is healing yourself. You will heal yourself by loving yourself. That's how it happens. Here I am today talking to one of my brothers that I see daily in my chat, someone that I see daily popping up in my group on my page. I appreciate you, brother. Here we are, just taking our relationship to the next level of face-to-face chat. That's what I like to do, is like have a health chat. You know, I'm talking about natural health all the time, and I understand it's very confusing sometimes because it's kind of backwards to nature. And so when I speak about things, I think sometimes people get the wrong impression and get confused. So what I like to do is, if I can, just make myself available for a chat. Like, let's connect, let's chat, let's talk about things, because sometimes the message gets misunderstood or a little bit in muddy water. So, you know, I like to talk to people that are in my community. I like to talk to people that are around me. I like to talk to people that are also doing and sharing about these things. I've seen the brother here, the alchemist, talking about some natural things. So I want to, you know, ask him a little bit about the natural things that he's found along the way that have helped him, and make a relationship and share about each other's experience, like share each other's story, share each other's light, share each other's experience. That's what it is. It's a loving and sharing experience between people. That's how health gets spread. That's how we stop, you know, the mess that's going on, the scary messiness about health that's going on, confusion about health, the mixed up message of health that, you know, listen, you get your health from drugs and chemicals. This isn't the way we get health. We take charge of our health. We change our health ourselves. We take responsibility for our health. We take physical, mental, and emotional health into our own hands. We take power back in our lives. That's what it's about, taking power back in our life. Brother, the alchemist,
Yes,
I see
sir.
you all the time, man. It's the first time I'm getting to talk with you today. Tell me, please, about
Yeah,
yourself. Where you're from, who you are, how old are you, what are you doing, why are you doing it, how did you get to be doing it, how did you meet me, what are you trying to do, what do you want to do, what are you passionate about? Tell me your story, brother. Tell me about yourself.
yeah, I try to get around. My name's actually Rob. Um, I'm here in Florida. Um, I'm 32, getting old, going backwards. I've heard a little saying that once you hit 30, that's when you turn 1 years old. But yeah, I think more so my health journey started about 4.5 years ago. Um, can you hear the audio
Just
well?
having a trouble with audio, so I'm going to get a headphone set to hear. But please continue, brother. I can hear if I put my ear close by.
Oh, okay, no problem. But yeah, no, it started about 4.5 years ago. I used to work 80 hours a week. I used to smoke cigarettes. probably almost like 2 packs a day, to kind of curb the stress, because I never really properly, I guess you could say, learned how to process stress without some kind of coping mechanism. Um, and then I was always busy with working, so that was something that came into play with that. I always felt like I never had time for doing anything but work, and I was a really bad workaholic, and I always with caffeine. I used to drink Monsters and stuff like that like it was water, and I used to make a joke that, like, oh, I didn't know when's the last time I actually drunk water, but it ended up being a real serious thing. And so just randomly out of the blue one day, I'm in the store going to get groceries, and I almost collapsed to the ground, and my head's spinning, my heart's pounding, and I feel like I'm gonna black out. And I'm like, well, what's going on? And so I'm like, oh, thinking, oh, it's nothing. Let me just get out of here. It's probably just having a bad day or something. And then it started continuing more, and then it never stopped. It just progressively got worse. So for a few years, I was seeing multiple specialists, doctors, trying to figure out what's going on. They wanted to hit you with the whole, oh, it's anxiety, so let's give you a whole bunch of pills. Pills, pills, pills. I felt like a lab rat, man. And just to kind of be like, look, let's get this whole anxiety thing out the way. I know it's not nothing to do with that, because I know how to recognize stuff like that. Because that's what I was going to university for, I wanted to do psychology. I was torn between that and cybersecurity. So I was kind of doing both. And, I was kind of stuck in between that. So I knew about triggers. I knew about emotional, mental triggers, all the different kinds of things like that. That way I knew what stuff out to look out for with myself. Because especially with psychology, if you want to be able to study people, you have to first learn to study yourself. That's like a really major key aspect in that, is self knowledge and self growth. And but as the years went by, I turned into a workaholic. That kind of went out the window, and then my health started declining. So with that, we, like I said, we went through the whole anxiety thing, took all these different kind of pills, and it was like, I know this is not it, but, for you to get this out of the way so I can start seeing maybe it's a heart doctor or something like that, let's get into that. Let's dig deep into that. So let's get this out of the way so you get off my back about it. And I didn't know where to turn to about that. I figured my diet was okay. I quit everything the day it started happening. After a couple days of it happening, I just quit everything like cold turkey. No more caffeine, no tobacco, no alcohol, and it just kept progressively getting worse. So I'm like starting to wonder, well, what's going on? And then I had to start looking elsewhere, because I kept getting the same runaround every time I'm up in the hospital night after night, thinking I'm having heart attack symptoms. It's that bad. And, they're just blowing it off like it's nothing. Oh, you're young. It's this, it's that, it's nothing. Not really wanting to do much, and I'm just getting the same answer. So I had to turn elsewhere. So, that's when I started finding different communities that were more health conscious. And it's like my dad, he was always a health nut growing up. So I already knew, it's like, oh, yeah, he was all this nuts and berries, get away from this, pastas, fats, carbs, all this crazy stuff like that. So, and he's a diabetic. And it's like, it's very prevalent in his family for that. And I'm like, I'm trying to stay away from that already. So, and it's like, I'm the only skinny one in the family other than my mom. Like my sisters, they're obese. My father, he's built like me, but it's like that whole gut with the visceral fat and all that stuff like that, where a lot of diabetes comes from in most men, because it's that gut fat. I did my best to stay away from this stuff. So once I started turning to these communities, I started finding different answers for stuff that I was like, okay, yeah, now it's starting to make sense. And a lot of it started with gut health that I found. A lot of it was to do with the gut, because, I started seeing things of like, oh, your gut's your second brain. Your gut, controls different, hormone things that it's telling your brain to send out to the rest of the body and different stuff like that. And I'm like, never would have thought of it. Never would have even considered it until I started, unfortunately, it felt like it was getting too late, and especially for my age. And so I've been on that path since, and with the whole vegan route, and I lost like 40 pounds in a month. And I was almost getting worried because I was like, man, that's pretty quick. Because I remember when I saw my doctor, he's like, oh, you really don't want to lose more than 2 to 3 pounds a month. Otherwise, it's not healthy. And I'm like, something seemed weird about it. I was like, why such a little weight would be unhealthy to lose in a month? Like, that's quite a bit of time. I mean, especially if our weights fluctuate all the time daily, within pounds of those ranges. So yeah, that's where I've been at with this. And watching you, I actually got introduced to you from a friend of mine that I've been friends with since like 2017. His name's Mikael Davani. He's out in Sweden. He goes by OG Felice. Yeah, shout out to him. Good kid, man. I love that kid. uh I learned a lot of stuff from him too, and he introduced me to you. He's like, hey, you got to check out this guy. And he's like, you might really like him. And so I think it's been over a little year now. I've been watching a lot of your work and being in the group, and uh, I'm just taking steps, and that's all I can do from there. But so far, everything's been a lot better. I still get this random heart thing that I'm still trying to figure out, but more or less, it seems like an electrical issue with the heart. But for me, like I always say, a lot of things like that also have to do with the lymphatic system, stagnant energy, even like what Tom says, you know, constant movement, and a big thing that played in part is fasting. Fasting, it's been around for thousands of years. I mean, even religions use it, and it's a main key aspect in a lot of stuff is fasting. And that's one thing I didn't ever really consider about doing until I really got into it. Like at first I started with, let me start with the raw live foods, but I'm going to start cooking it a little bit, just so I can work my way into the raw. Cause like jumping from you're eating whatever at whatever time to just straight raw foods, your body's going to go through some definite changes. You're really going to feel it, and your body's going to kick you in the butt for it too. Cause I tried it, and it's like, it didn't work out going that path for me. Cause I figured, oh yeah, if I can cold turkey all this, why not do that? I tried it, it didn't work out well. So I had to take baby steps. I had to go revert back to that, take baby steps, and start with just, the vegan approach, but, some light cooking, some sauteing, going from there and working my way into the raw live foods. And then juicing became another thing. Juicing and fasting. Uh, I used to fast religiously because when I practiced Islam, I used to fast for Ramadan. And even my time during is when I was a Christian, I didn't know about fasting, and that was the thing a lot of them did. But like I said, that even plays a big role in religion, and it's something that we never get taught. Is our what do they call Western society? We don't really get taught that kind of thing. It's more so, here's the diet, this will work for you, but there's a reason for that. It's only going to work for you because, like they say, the doctors are there for a reason. The way I see it from all the years I've been having to go through the process with the doctors, it's more so, we need you here. We need you to not be healthy, because otherwise, what are we going to do? How are we going to make a living? Because like they say, a patient cured is a customer lost. So I always started getting to the point where I stopped seeing my doctors, and I was like, and when I seen the new ones they wanted me to see, I was just like, hey, I'm going to be honest with you, and this is where I'm at. This is my diet. This is what it consists of. I know for some reason, a lot of doctors try to frown upon a vegan diet and fasting and all that stuff like that, which of course, you got most of them that'll tell you don't stop smoking, but they're outside smoking, which I find it very contradictory, but it is what it is. I tell them, I got to the point where I was like, hey, I'm here. I understand that most doctors are here to treat symptoms, not cure the root causes. I said, if you're one of those doctors and you're worried about kickbacks from the pharmaceutical companies so you can make money off that just to keep filling people up, let me know so I can say thank you for your time. Find somebody that will. It really got to that point where I gave up on the medical industry. because I was realizing, and I'm starting to see that that's not what they're about. They're not about helping people. So, you know, this whole route that I've been on now with the fasting and, you know, this whole working my way with the breatharian thing at the same time. And it's a journey. I tell you that much. It's really a journey, and it takes a lot of mental strength, I'd say, for most, because a lot of people are so in this habit of, you know, being stuck on this, oh, I got to be like this. How people were eating normally, it messes with the mind so much that it'll mentally attack you if it's not getting what it's want. It's another addiction. It's like tobacco. It's like alcohol. You know, people with those problems try to say, oh, it's really not that bad. But it can be a very serious thing, especially if somebody's not mentally strong enough to be able to fight that kind of addiction for them. But so far it's been pretty great for me. It's been a very interesting journey, and I'm still on my way there. Every day, you know, I'm still learning. I don't know everything, but every day I'm going to learn something new. I know that, because we're never going to stop learning. That's one thing I've learned. I used to think, man, it seems like I almost know everything, because people used to try to call me a know-it-all, but I said, hey, I'd rather know a little bit of everything than a whole lot of nothing. So I always love learning stuff. So I know every day it's learning. Every experience we have, all the energy, happiness, everything that we learn from that, we learn how to be happier. We learn how to be healthier. And this might not work, but we end up going to this route. And that's how we learn through these steps to be able to have that optimum position that we want to be in, you know, more or less. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at so far in my 4-year-ish journey on all this hecticness.
Awesome, brother. Thank you for sharing. I love the story. I relate to the story, you know, your life breaking down, your health breaking down, losing control of your health. I relate to this. This is the same story as me. I lost my health. I was on sleep medication. I was on digestive medication. I couldn't get it fixed. Going to the doctor, popping ibuprofen. I was having candida and yeast. I was having athlete's foot. So I was having obviously yeast problems. But you know, these problems couldn't get fixed. I went to the doctor. I tried the naturopath, you know, take this, take that, try this, take that, take this chemical, take that drug, take this supplement, take that pill, take that potion, you know, like just whatever they're selling.
Yeah, take this so you can take this along
well,
with it.
take this, right, and then take this, and then take that. But that's because that's what you're selling, you know. Like everyone's selling their thing, you know. So, you know, what I just find is, you know, not to blame any doctors or any naturopaths or anyone, not to, because that's all that they know, right? Like it's unfortunate. Like everyone kind of knows what they know. Like if you go to school to be a doctor, like you go to med school, and the teacher gives you the answers in class, and then, you know, you're supposed to study them, and then you write them on the test, and then you get the answer. So it's like you're given the answers, so you're just memorizing. Well, that's just memorization. So the doctors just memorize what they're supposed to learn, and the scientists memorize what they're supposed to learn. The naturopath memorizes what they're supposed to learn, and everyone's just
it's regurgitation.
So what's the difference? Like you're just regurgitating. You're not learning how to think, and nobody's really learning how to think. And this is the thing. Like to really heal yourself, you got to come out of that mess a little bit and kind of stop going to all of these people. And it's really a learning how to listen to yourself, and that's like a little bit of a different kind of journey, you know. And it's not an overnight thing. It's not like something you can just tell somebody, oh, we'll just do this, we'll just eat fruit and do fasting, like you said, like vegan foods trending in that way. But you found that if I just tried to go all cold turkey, well, I couldn't do it. Like I broke down. Like that's the point. So you're gonna have to like do some transition foods. Like you're going to have to eat a little bit of this for a while. So, you know, I talk about my 4-day detox. Like I spend some of the time fasting. Right now I fast most of the time, most days. But I do eat on Saturday and Sunday and Tuesday right now. Those
Yeah, like right now, my fasting is more like a 18 on 6 or 18 off 6 on type of fast that I've been doing, and that's just to
an
maintain the weight.
intermittent fasting, daily intermittent fasting. So I'm practicing a daily intermittent fasting. But see, when I practice a daily intermittent fasting, I get a certain result. It's no different than saying like practicing a workout regime. Like if you
Right.
practice a workout regime for 3 months or 6 months or a year, you grow. Something different happens
Right.
in your body. The same thing's going to happen from this 18-6 eating workouts, like fasting style. You will grow and develop from that. So, like, there's an engagement time with it that a growth and expansion happens because you're practicing that for some time. So this is the thing. It's something that you practice this, and you grow and are expanded by it, and then you start practicing something else. Like you were inspired by something more. Like you're
Right.
inspired to try a 24-hour fast or a 36-hour fast after
No food Mondays.
you're inspired to do that after you've done this for a while. So then you want to go further and you want to do something more. That's right. You step into something more. And this is kind of how
Right.
natural health grows. Like it kind of grows in
Right.
your life.
Right. Yeah, you definitely have to work your way up to it, because you're not going to go from eating McDonald's every day to doing a 48-hour dry fast or even a water fast. That's not happening. And that's right. There's no overnight to this stuff. I thought there was going to be, oh yeah, maybe I'll see something in less than a week, or no, it takes a while, because think about it. If I'm starting this at 25 years old, I'm getting 25 years worth of junk out of me. And then granted, X amount of times our bodies replenish themselves and whatnot. But I mean, just think about like the fat, like someone that has some extra fat on their gut. You have a lot of toxic fat from the toxic foods you've been eating. And you're not going to be able to just fast that off and your body's going to be okay with it. No, because once you start fasting off the toxic fats, it's not like it was a healthy fat. Like if you were eating it, gained a little bit of fat on the muscle from fruits and vegetables. You're burning off toxic fats. It's been, stagnant there for years, if anything. Because you got those two layers of the body that collects the fat, especially around the gut. You got the outside fat, and then you got stuff that ends up with people that end up having problems where they start gaining the inside fat that gets around the organs. And that's when you start having issues. And, getting rid of these toxicities in the body, a lot of it I've learned has to do with, other than what you're eating, is being stagnant. That stagnant energy with the lymphatic system, it's just a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, it's true. We've got stagnant energy. We've got toxins in our body. This is true. But then also even beyond like physical toxins from eating the wrong foods or the incorrect foods for many years. But there's even there's emotional toxicity. Like there's trauma that's happened in our life. So if we've had some emotional real challenges in our childhood, if there's been something emotional in our childhood, if there's something addictive in our life, right? So looking at addictions, looking at obsessions, looking at our thought and word habit, the way we think and speak about ourselves. If we've got a lack of love or belief in self, if we've got a lack of self-confidence, if we're not, truly believe in our value and our worth, or if we're good enough, like do we believe in ourselves? Right. So our value matters. Like this is all a part of the health, and this is all a part of the healing process as well too. So it's detoxification, but that is like mental detoxification. That's habitual detoxification. That's nutritional detoxification. That's toxic chemicals and food things that are drugs that are stuck in the body, and parasites and bacteria and viruses. There's toxic elements like that. But then beyond that, there's toxic emotions like sadness and frustration and embarrassment or trauma, like something that happened in our childhood, something sexual or something physical that blows, or something emotional that happened with divorce or relationship troubles or loss of love in our life or financial loss. All of these things affect our health. That they're all
Yeah,
aspects.
very much, very much. I mean, and that's another thing too is we have to do more than a fast for our nutritional side. I mean, like you said, we have to mental fast. You know, how we think, you know, even accountability. There's so much people in society today. There's so much lack of accountability and responsibility. And that's what causes a lot of issues for a lot of people is let me find something else to blame it on other than myself.
Not taking
I
responsibility.
create most of my own problems, not somebody else. Nobody's pushing them cupcakes in my mouth. I'm putting them in my mouth and I need to find out why. If it's not a reason that I'm just being a glutton, I need to find out why. Because it could be an emotional thing, like you said. If you haven't handled that emotional trauma and stuff like that, you're going to, oh, well, something triggered me, so now I'm going to start eating. You know, and then that adds on to the physical. A lot of the mental fasting affects the physical. So you're right, exactly. We have to do more than just a nutritional physical fast. There's, you know, verbiage, how you think about yourself. You could tell yourself in the morning every day, even if it's fake, I'm amazing. I'm gonna, you know, make this work. Everything's gonna be great. You know, because what's the point of waking up every morning just to want to give up? There's no point of waking up every morning. And it leads you down a dark path. You know, it's almost like having your own gateway drug is yourself. Your own mental toxicity can be your own gateway to even worse things. You know, you got people that they think so badly about themselves, they end up hurting themselves. And it gets to that point where even some people don't even think it's anything wrong. It's natural to them. It's a second nature, a second language, because their body is so accustomed to it, just like with everything else. You know, and we can change all these things, not just what we eat, but how we think, how we behave. Everything is, we're very adaptable beings. You know, we were made to adapt to any kind of situation. So it's like what I heard before. They said when you're a kid, when you fell and got a scratch on your knee, you got a band-aid or something, cleaned it off, and you left it alone. It healed by itself. But once we get in the way of ourselves and we keep picking at it, we keep picking at it, we keep messing with it, it's never going to heal. So once we get out of the way, especially like with our food, you know, people are getting sick because of what they're eating. Not just the mental side, but like say just for what they're eating. People are getting sick off that with gut problems, and then leading to mental problems with that because it's causing all kind of hormonal dysfunction in the body. And it's more so like if you get out of the way of your body, let your body heal. And you know, you can't just keep eating the same thing every day and be like, oh, why am I not getting better? Those pills are only going to do so much. Those pills are only going to treat the symptoms. You're having symptoms for a reason. Your body is telling you, hey, something is wrong. I need to fix this. Because our body is capable of doing so much of fixing itself. Our body's like, you know, not to get back in the medical field part, but there's anesthesiologists that will tell you people under anesthesia, once they mentally get away from their own body, their body does so much amazing things to heal itself, because a lot of it is a mental blocking that we're allowing ourselves to do. We're doing a lot of mental blocking, and you know, these lead to things, anxiety, stress, you know, all these things. We're letting ourselves get in the way of our own selves. We're becoming our own worst enemies mentally and physically.
This is it, brother. Getting out of our own way. I think this is it. You got to get out of your own way. You know, this is it. The doctors are just teaching a repetitive science, so not to blame the doctors. That's their career. It's not anybody's fault. Everyone's, you know, got to pay their bills. I understand. But you know, if you're talking about truly, you know, coming to the root of your health, the solution can't be drugs. And it can't even be vitamins and minerals and pills and potions. It's not that either. Really, the solution is your own inner power. And you need to switch your perspective from hopeless to hopeful. So, you know, being in the morning, you talked about it. being in a negative place, thinking and speaking negatively, getting down on yourself, like you're putting yourself in a hopeless place. You're dropping your frequency, your vibration, your energy down low. You can't get healthy down there. That's when you're down low like that, you're going to be turning to food and drug and supplement and sex and shopping and needing and wanting something and feeling like a victim. When you're down in that space, you're going to feel like a victim of your life, and you can't heal yourself as a victim. You've really got to feel like a champion, like you've got the power. You've got to believe in yourself. That's a flipping of the script. That's a changing of perspective, and that's what has to happen on a daily basis, that you've got to get back into the driver's seat in your life, right? And that's the benefit of being in a community. Like, get onto our page, look at a message, look at a post, look at someone else that's working on themselves today, that's working on their words. Like, make a commitment to work on your words with us. Put your post on the page, make yourself accountable here. Put it on your page, put it on our page. Make yourself accountable here. Let's encourage each other. Let's be relationship to and be one another. Get into the chat, make a comment about what you're doing today. By putting your light into the tunnel, you're inspiring someone else. Someone else is trying to do their best. So here we are, jumping on, making ourselves accountable, talking about the things that we're doing to make ourselves healthy and well. Fasting, live foods, juices, moving towards vegan nutrition. It's not about being perfect.
Hydrogen water.
It's not about being perfect. It's okay if you have a slip up. It's okay if you have a mistake. It's okay if you eat something. It's okay if you need to eat something every day to start. Then you can go to every other day. Then you can go to every third day. You can change those eating hours. You can start off with 18 hours of fasting. You can go to 24 hours once a week. You can build it up. It's growing this lifestyle. It's taking back this power of yourself and your life. This is how it happens. This is what we do in our community. This is what we do on our page. This is what we do on our chat. Join our chat. Participate. Like, comment, make yourself accountable here. That's how change happens here. We work together. We support one another through loving relationship, through dialogue and relationship. This is how change happens. We get together and we talk about changes. Next week,
communication.
That's it. Communication and relationship. That's how change happens.
Communication is very important, and that's in any aspect of life, not just relationships. Communication spans everywhere. I mean, you got people with jobs that, this happened. Well, they said this happened, and now there's a whole bunch of havoc over there. Communication. If your management is not communicating with their employees, you're going to have a horrible business running, and vice versa. If your employees are not communicating with each other, they're all just doing their own thing. The flow of it's just going to be hectic, and that's another thing too. People feel that they're alone, especially like you were saying about, being accountable, even if starting is something in the group. People feel like they're alone, or they're the only ones, because some people don't put themselves out there, and some people have put themselves in the middle box of anti-socialist, even though social media is the most anti-socialist thing we have, but it's another way you take it and use it for the good, and communicate with each other like this, and be able to give somebody the opportunity to come out of their box in a way that they're comfortable with, because some people might not be able to do it in person, and use something like this to be able to come out of their box and be like, I'm not alone. I can get support. I can get help, and I can get better. And it's like taking something that was probably bad and using the good from it. And there's plenty of ways to do that, and this is a great step towards it.
That's how it happens, brother, through dialogue, communication, relationship. This is how it happens. That's how we change our relationship with ourselves. That's how we change our relationship with others. It's through this, right? And you brought up a great one: singularity, isolation, feeling like separated from the rest. And this is a concept that you have to get over to heal yourself, is to see that you are a part of it all, that you have value and worth, and your words and your voice and your light and your energy has worth and value to the whole. It's to see that the human is one collective energy, humanity, and you are a part of humanity. And when you look out at the other, what you're thinking and saying about the other and the way you're treating the other is how life is going to treat you. And if you want your life to be, treating you different, you've got to give more love to your life. So if you believe you're not a part of your life, well, that's your limited belief. Or now, if you take a more inclusive belief that I am a part of all life, that my voice has value for all of life, that when I look out into your eyes or look out into the eyes of anyone else out there, that what's looking back at me is me. And it's me speaking to myself, and the way that I think and speak to that energy or treat that energy, or the way that I'm feeling inside of myself towards the other, that's what's coming back to me in my life. And if I want to get something more in my life, I just got to pour a little bit more out into my life. And this is just a way to do it. This is just a way to do it.
Yeah, a lot of people got to get happy with themselves as well, because, a lot of people's, they're not happy with themselves, and it reflects on how they are to others, because how they feel inside is how they end up treating others. And so it's like, that's why I tell people all the same time, I say, be the change you want to see. Because if you want to see this come into your reality, you have to portray it as well, because everyone is just a reflection of you. So if I'm talking to you in some kind of way, that's going to reflect back on me the same amount, if not more. So, a lot of love comes down to that, a lot of self-love.
Self-love. This about self-love.
Self-love.
This about...
But not just a idolization of self, but a self-love that's an unconditional love, like a mother would love their kid no matter what. No matter how much they were a knucklehead, your mother's still going to love you no matter what. Something, that kind of unconditional love. A lot of people don't have that for themselves. So, this is another thing. It's just another thing to add on to the causes for, I call them triggers. I call them triggers that can lead to other things, like, emotional damage, stuff like that, self-worth, like, all these people that don't feel like they're worth anything because of what societal standards has become. And they feel they can't fix themselves. And, and then you got people that's blaming everybody else. But at the end of the day, it's, hey, you gotta get down to the part where accountability, it comes down to you at the end, because no one's gonna live your life but you. No one's gonna live it for you. No one's gonna live it through you. You gotta do it for yourself. You gotta live your life for yourself. And that comes where you're gonna have to get off that butt and start making changes. If you want to see change, you got to make change. You have to be that change, especially if not for anybody, do it for yourself. You don't have to do it for anybody. A lot of people want to do stuff on social media because, oh yeah, let's see what everybody still got that. Let me see what everybody else thinks mentality. That happens a lot on social media. Nobody lives the life for themselves. And it's like, I can speak as one person. I used to be like that. I can be the first to say I used to be like that. I was always worried about what other people felt, what they would say, because that was my emotion on it. That was my outtake. Well, if no one's happy with me, why should I be happy with myself? Other than, why can't I be happy with myself and let others be happy for me if they want to be? Because I shouldn't have to worry about that. I shouldn't have to worry about things like that, because it ends up, you got people that are bullied through school that they end up eating themselves to death or something like that, and getting overweight because they get so depressed because they're worried about what everybody else thinks and not being happy with themselves, not taking that initiative to become accountable for their own lives. But there's so many things that can cause that. That's just one of them, but I feel today with society, it's a big part for some. But we all can be our own change. We all can be our own little superhero, savior, however you want to call it, wrapped up in the one big package. We all have that power to do so. No man is no more of a human being than the next. We all have that ability. It's just, do we want to do it? So we can either wake up every day and make it a great day, or we can wake up and, oh well, I'm just going to live another day of misery and eat myself to death and be unhealthy and wonder why this is all happening.
I think you hit the big one there, buddy. I think it's all self-love. I think we're all learning how to love ourselves better. I think anything that's, not working out in our life is just really, I've found for me, it's just been parts of my life that I didn't love yet, or I didn't accept fully yet, or that I needed to love more, give more love to. That's what I've found has been the healing portion for everything of my life with my health. I'm just jumping on today to make myself accountable, just spending some time with my community, sharing some love to my community, with my community, letting my community know that this is what we do. We do a health chat. We talk about things, supplements, questions. We talk about our life experiences. We talk about what's happened. We talk about change. We talk about how change happens. And next week, I'll let you know I've got my 10-day detox. It starts on Monday. If you're looking to get some help, then join Sabina Kurz and I, holistic nutritionists. We'll be working on our 10-day detox next week if you'd like to join in with us. Thanks so much to The Alchemist today for jumping on with us. Hopefully you see The Alchemist posts on our page. Hopefully you see The Alchemist in our chats. If you're not on our page and posting yet, please do. If you're not in our chats yet, please do. If you'd like to get more, let's book a health chat. If you'd like to get more, let's consider the 10-day detox. It's $100 US for our next 10 days. Runs February 7th to the 17th. If you'd like some help, reach out to us. We're here for you. We love you. Thanks, brother.
Yes, sir. Always a pleasure.
See you later, my man.
All right. You have a great day,
brother.